Welcome to another Peak Careers interview, and today we're going to talk about when there might be times that career service providers may want to refer their clients to a staffing or recruiting agency. And I have my guests today are Wendy Schoen, who is CEO and managing partner at Schoen Legal Search, and Kathy DeMerchant, president and co-owner of Capital Area Staffing. Kathy and I both live in Vassaboro, and we had one of our kids. I don't even remember which one of my kids. It was Kathy, Chris or Cody. I think were friends with her son years ago. But we're going to explore this topic a little bit on staffing and recruiting. And this is a topic that I needed more information on, so I'm sort of forcing myself to get out there and learn more about when this might make sense. And this is gonna be a follow-up to my blog on the same topic coming out soon. So Wendy Schoen is a managing partner at Schoen Legal Search. I was having a hard time cutting down her bio she sent me because I liked it so much. She says, she's an example to all the up-and-coming women professionals today that can succeed in their chosen career if they want to, even if you change your career multiple times. And it's a great story, and I'd recommend that you read the entire bio. But her main job now is that she's at one of the top legal recruiters in New York, placing attorneys into law firms, banks, management, consulting firms, and firms and funds through her own company, Schoen Legal Search. Kathy DeMerchant is president and co-owner of Capital Area Staffing Solutions. She and her partners opened the corporate office of Capital Area Staffing in March 2003 in Augusta, Maine, and then followed that with a branch in Bangor Area Staffing. She has a number of active memberships. She's involved professionally with the HR community here in Maine and actually nationally. So I'm very excited to have both of these folks here today, who I have here today to give some advice and information. So I want to start off today with talking about what is a staffing agency and what is a recruiting firm, and what the differences are as people use these terms. Wendy?
Well, as I've always understood it, a recruiting agency is one that places full-time, permanent placements, and a staffing agency, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, is one that places temp or contract contract placements, and that's where the difference lies.
Exactly. We also do some direct hire work primarily out of our Bangor office, but the bulk of our business currently is contract to hire, or otherwise known as temp to hire.
Right. And that staffing agencies have really evolved over the years, haven't they?
Absolutely.
I mean, they really have changed, and that's really when sort of my big push to get a better handle on what are staffing agencies today, and that's really what I hope to explore some more. So my audience is primarily career coaches, career service practitioners. When are there times that you think, Kathy, and we'll start with you, when are times that we may want to refer our clients or coaches to you, or our clients or customers, students to you?
Well, the key really would be to make sure that they're actually ready to rejoin the workforce. If they're looking to just kind of get their feet wet a little bit, perhaps a temporary position would be best for them. But it's important to remember that they should really do some research on the various firms that they may apply with. And they need to have a background that's going to be germane to the types of openings that those firms might specialize in, whether it's accounting, medical, legal, or just general office.
When I send someone to you, do you do some kind of aptitude or skill test or determination of what their skills are and where they might best fit?
Absolutely. So for our firm, we have very little walk-in traffic. We request that our applicants first forward us a resume, which we review for content and consistency. And if we feel that they have a background that may meet the needs of our current clients, then we do respond to everybody. But to those particular applicants, we send some testing, some assessments that they can do on their own in their own home, or they can come here and do them. And then once the assessments are complete, we're very rigid about how we screen our applicants. So once that piece is done, and if the test scores are good, then we have them come in, go through an interview that lasts anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. So during that period of time, we're really digging down to see what it is that they've done, what they like, what they might like to do, try to get a feel for their aptitude, and really digging into that work history. Once the application and the interview are completed, then we check references, and a lot of our clients have requirements for background and substance use screens. So it's quite a process. If everything clears, then we can hold them open for opportunities.
Great. Wendy, what are your thoughts as you think about that question? When our career coaches and practitioners may want to utilize a recruiting firm?
The problem is that in the recruiting world, finding the right recruiter depends on industry, level of professional that you're working with, area of expertise. There isn't a recruiter that is a general recruiter dealing with professionals in across the board, everything, everywhere. If you're looking for an engineering professional, you have to go to an engineering recruiting firm. If you're looking for a nursing professional, you have to go to a nursing recruiting firm. If you're looking for a lawyer, you have to go to a legal recruiting firm. You can't go to a one-shop-fits-all. You just can't, because each of the industries and each of the professions has specialty knowledge and specialty recruiters, and therefore there's no one shop fits all. And then when you get into the specific industry, you have to determine what level of professional you're dealing with, because there are recruiting agencies that deal with different levels of professional within each industry. So it's not just a quickie, let me get out a Google search and throw them at a particular first name that comes up. You have to pay attention. Are you talking about someone who's at the assistant level? Are you talking at someone who's at the just low-level manager level? Are you talking about someone who's at a senior manager level, a VP level, and above? You have to know what you're talking about, because each recruiting agency specializes in those things as well.
Yeah, I think I found that even here at I had a client who was looking to work in the medical field in this local area, and sent him to, I knew a recruiter at Maine General, the hospital, and I was like, okay, this is perfect. But she didn't handle those kind of positions. She handled only the physicians and the surgeons. And she's like, well, he needs to actually be in contact with someone else. And so that was really one of the early kind of aha moments for me. And so it was really good to know. And so I hear what you're saying. And Wendy was so gracious. She and I actually had a conversation a couple weeks ago, and she was very helpful with giving me a better understanding of this industry. Kathy, did you have anything to add to sort of add to that at all, or?
Not really, Jim. Like I said, for us, we're a staffing firm, so we don't specialize in any one. Other than our niche really being the contract to hire, we handle a wider variety. Whereas like with a firm like Wendy's, the recruiting, they're more direct hire in specialty areas.
Yeah. So Wendy, for me, the $100 question really is, so if if clients and people need to find the right recruiter, what are some ways to find that right recruiter? I had a client recently who was in the sales managing area and kind of in the HVAC field, and was really and he was in the Midwest, and it was kind of like, how does he find the right recruiter? Where do you start? What do you think?
If he's in sales, that itself is a field. There are recruiters who deal in the sales field. And then, so you go there first, and then you ask questions of people who are at the top of the sales recruiting world for referrals into the specialty fields that your particular client is, and move down from there until you find the right recruiting firm that deals with your specific kind of sales.
So it seemed the other one thing, I think when we were chatting last time, you had said that maybe approaching like professional associations to find out, like in the HVAC field, right?
But you have to start in sales first. You have to go to the sales overfield. There'll be an association that can then send you to the HVAC sales subfield.
Right. So looking at your professional association, tapping into those folks, and just begin. It's an investigation. Just sit down and kind of look around and say, it's a hot and cold game, right? Am I getting warmer here, or am I getting colder, right? This is the association. Who in there might be able to give me some insight as to who are some of the top recruiters who are going into representing these?
Yes.
And then go to them.
It's all who you know.
It's all, and I've always, in this field, I've always said it's all personal. It's just personal. And these people who think they can just get a job by texting it to somebody, here, let me email you my resume. They just don't realize how it's all personal. I mean, it is. It's all who I know, that network. And
yeah. You need to have that warm contact. And, for the career counselors out there, they should really get to know their local staffing firms. Have those one-on-one conversations with, maybe the branch manager of each of the firms, and try to get an idea for what it is that they do and what their expectations are. And everybody's got a website now. And, a lot of these firms, they place their jobs right on their website, openings that they have currently. So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Or at my level, if you're going to be a career coach in a particular city, then it behooves you to know the names of the top recruiters in the business world, in the financial world, in the legal world, in the engineering world. You don't have to know all of them, but you should at least know 2 or 3 with whom you are on a first name basis in each of the major professions, so that at least you have a place to start if you have a client that wants to be referred to a recruiter. You have someone you can call in each of the major professions who can lead you on your direction, on your path.
Right. So a lot of career coaches who are in private practice, like I am, we kind of have a niche of what we're trying to deal with as well, right? I mean, and so it should be easier to develop the kind of relationships that you're talking about. I tend to be a little broader in industries, but I work with a lot of midlife career changers, but they're not. Yeah, I don't tend to deal with the folks that Wendy deals with. I mean, so I wouldn't. I rarely am dealing with that level of profession. So my point being is, career coaches, and particularly in private practice, but career coaches in general, we tend to have a lot of the same sort of a niche. We should find those recruiters who are in that same niche.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think, Wendy, the reason I found you was in a LinkedIn discussion. I think I started a conversation on this topic a couple months ago, and you were one of the folks that said, hey, you had an opinion on it, and you jumped in and got involved, and it was a great LinkedIn discussion. So I feel like LinkedIn has really opened up some contacts for me for the recruiters and in a variety of other areas. But it's a great point about that relationship. It's about knowing people and then gaining their respect. I think that's a big piece.
The problem is that most recruiters, at least in my industry, most recruiters aren't going to spend the time on LinkedIn developing those relationships because it's not cost effective.
Right.
Yeah.
I just enjoy it. So that's why I spend time doing it. I enjoy chit-chatting with people and getting to know people and expressing my opinion and learning things. But for most recruiters, it's not a cost-effective spend of time to get involved in developing relationships with all sorts of career coaches. It's just not. They have enough people in their Rolodex or available for them to find, that going out and meeting career coaches just isn't, on LinkedIn is not a useful spend of time.
Yeah.
At least recruiters at my level.
Right. But you both seem to be, and I can't remember, Wendy, it seemed to me I saw someplace that you're involved with your professional association as well, right?
Yeah.
You do something
because I like it.
Right.
But again, for most recruiters, it's not a good spend of time.
Right. And I think
the marginal return on every minute that I spend on LinkedIn talking, it could be another phone call I could be making to get another body that I could possibly get in front of my client.
Right. Right.
It's where's my time best spent.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the aha moments too is getting my head and helping clients also get their head around the fact that you are serving you're serving companies, not the client. You're finding clients to serve the companies, but your business is really the company, right?
That's what Kathy and I were both talking about. Our clients are the companies. They're not the candidates.
Right.
We tend to have a longer relationship with our applicants only because, they're not all direct hire placements. So we try to make the match on both ends. But it's the clients that are driving the revenue. Those field employees that we have, they certainly help generate, and they do generate once they're placed, but we've got to keep those clients happy, which is why it's so important that the skill fit is correct. Right. And that's true throughout the industry.
And I think one of the frustrations as a career counselor and coach all these years is that we spend a lot of time historically in the career development field just looking at interest assessments, and an interest doesn't help you guys. Skills, aptitudes, and abilities.
Achievements. That's what we want to see. Achievements.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Since I've gotten onto LinkedIn and met all of you all, I have sent many of my candidates. My candidates have come back to me when their jobs have been, eliminated and they're coming back to the job market. I have sent many of them to coaches because the coaches are the best ones who can help them develop the LinkedIn profile and develop a resume for today's market,
right,
which is necessary to help them meet the client that I want them to meet in a very short period of time. And I wouldn't have had that had I not got onto LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
But because I don't have the time to rewrite their resume or to rewrite their LinkedIn profile. That's up to you guys to help me do that.
Right.
Okay. But I'm not expecting you all to send me candidates.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's that, there's benefits to having the relationships, but you got to know when to use them, and you got to know when is it appropriate for me to send someone to you, and my job is to help them make sure that the clients understand what they're going into.
Right.
How often do you get as a client, as a coach? How often do you get a law firm partner or a general counsel that job just got eliminated because two companies merged.
That's not my area. I don't get, I never, I shouldn't say never, but I certainly can't think of one.
Well, see, that's the point. So you're not going to be sending me to anybody.
Right. Right.
But you might be able to send us somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and the thing even for Wendy though, and again, we goes back to the point of it's all personal, it's all relationships.
Right.
I may not send someone to you, but I actually know coaches who are dealing with lawyers and that upper level CEOs. And so the
Yep.
benefits are not always obvious, but relationships.
Absolutely. But as I said, I'm going to send the law firm partner who hasn't looked in 20 years to you to create one that I can use to market it.
Right. Well, listen, this has been absolutely, I've loved this. This is, it's helped me get my head around this topic a lot better. And I really appreciate it. Any final thoughts that either of you have saying something else that you'd like to share or?
Well, from my perspective, you participated, actually were a presenter at one of the local Human Resource Association meetings. And as a career counselor, it might be helpful for you to become a member of one or more of those. And then you would be plugged into a lot of HR professionals who may be able to help your clients.
That's a great point, Kathy.
I agree.
Great point. So, well, thank you both very much for giving me some time, and I'll just wrap things up here briefly. I am Jim Peacock, principal of Peak Careers Consulting. I really started this business teaching the Facilitating Career Development course, which leads to national career credentials. I have a number of online discussion-based seminars. I do face-to-face workshops and provide individual career coaching. And as of last week, I have a book called The Field Guide for Career Practitioners.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty stinking excited about that. But if you are a career practitioner or a career counselor, anyone that delivers career services, feel free to sign up for my top 10 tips working with an undecided person on my website. And please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's my biggest hangout place, LinkedIn and probably Twitter, but I also have a Peak Careers Facebook page. Just search for Peak Careers. Thank you both for joining me today. It absolutely it's been a pleasure, and I really feel like you've added some value to my knowledge base.
Happy to help.
Happy to help. Enjoyed myself. Lovely to meet you, Kathy.
It was lovely to meet you as well, Wendy.